After years of working with pain and inflammation, I created these blends to support the nervous system naturally. Now we're going to head into mood stabilizing oils. There's a couple of things I want to teach you about these mood stabilizing oils. So these oils can be used individually or blended together, depending on the needs of the individual. So there's one primary oil and two supportive oils, and those are, the primary oil is stability. That's our main blend for either anxiety or depression. It brings both to a grounded, centered place. But then I have settle, which is an anxiety support. And then I have lift, which is a mood elevation support for depression. Stability and lift may be used on their own or combined with stability. While blending them with stability creates a more synergistic and balanced effect, many people respond very well to just using settle or lift independently. And this goes back to our conversation about using oils with extreme conditions like a fever or someone who's ill or sick. If you have a lot of anxiety, that's an extreme condition. And so the single oils, the really targeted single oils, work well when you're having that panic attack. And so you can utilize stability and then you can utilize the settle on top of it, or you can just use settle to bring your body down and then use stability to find a place of neutral. The same with lift. If you're really struggling in that depressive state, you can just use lift because you're targeting a more intense emotion and it can bring you up, and you then can use stability to find that place that you need to be in. And so the nervous system, it's really interesting to understand the nervous system and how it works when you're talking about neuroendocrine substances and processes. And that's where we talk about the hormones, the neuroendocrine substances that fires you up to anxiety or take you down into depression, the lack of or too much that goes in the nervous system. So the nervous system is a series of checks and balances. If that nervous system starts to vibrate too much, that nervous system starts to pulse too fast, the body automatically puts in certain chemicals that bring it down. And if it's too low and it's not doing enough work, then it'll put chemicals in to bring it up. And it is constantly going towards a state of neutral, constantly managing, never stops. And it never stops bringing you down or bringing you up or bringing you down or bringing you up. And so that's how, if somebody has anxiety, they have depression, because the body can overcompensate because there's been too much anxiety, and then it pushes them past that neutral and then down into depression. And then vice versa, they can sit in depression and the body will push lots of hormones and chemicals out in order to bring them up, and it shoots them too high. And then they get these really bipolar type reactions. And then when you get into bipolar, there's no limits. The limits seem to disappear. And so they shoot really high and they go really low. And so it's very hard to find that state of neutral. So when I was blending these oils together, that was the vision in my mind of how do we keep the body closer, and so it's not deviating so much when it comes to those emotions. How do we stay closer to that grounding area? And it's so interesting that stability does this. Stability will bring you down and bring you up at the same time. So it's a grounding blend that actually addresses both sides of the nervous system. Took me several years to really make this formula work for me. And then as I was building it, I was trying to create an anxiety formula that had stability in it, and I was trying to create a depression formula that had stability in it. And the reaction from the people that used it was so variant that I actually pulled those oils out and made them separate. And when I did that, that was perfect. And the reason for that is how you blend them as you need them, or how you use them for yourself or your clients. So again, they can be used alone, especially when more targeted or a lighter approach is desired. Apply a small amount using a preferred method, adjusting frequency and placement based on individual response. So I really love to put these on the heart chakra and the feet. They seem to work well in those areas. So use your own sense of smell. You have to determine what you need based on what smells best to you. That's what happened with my clients. Pre-blending all of these together didn't smell good to some of them. It did to some if they were really off that day, but it didn't work because I needed to be able to take it in and out and make it less and make it more, depending on the client and depending on the day. So the body's response and preference should guide whether you blend or use a single oil. You can use all of that. And if you're using it at the table, you can just ask somebody where they're at that day. If they're marking everything on the chart for depression, you can just say, tell me how you're doing a little bit so I know how much oil to use. And you could start out with one and then add another and then add another, and just see where the person is and let them smell. And they can tell you what smells good to them, and that tells you what they need to know. The sniffer test.